In this video, we're going to look at what's involved in replacing the cooling fan motor relay on a 2001 Dodge Caravan. The first thing we need to do is look at the tools that we're going to need to complete this job. You're going to need a 10mm wrench, an 8mm wrench, a large flat-bladed screwdriver, a ratchet, a very long ratchet extension, a Phillips head screwdriver or a screw gun, a 9/64 or 5/32 inch drill bit to be able to drill out a rivet that's holding in the old relay, a drill, a small flat-bladed screwdriver, the replacement relay, and then a 1/4 inch by 1 inch stainless steel, preferably hex head, self-tapping screw, and then also something to hold the screws that you're going to remove. So as a preliminary step, use your 10mm wrench or whatever size is necessary for your battery and disconnect your negative battery cable before you start working on this relay. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to take out the headlight assembly. This is going to make the process of removing and inserting the new relay a little bit easier. You're going to need your 8mm either socket or wrench to remove these 3 screws holding the headlight assembly in. So once you've removed those, this headlight assembly should slide right out. And I'm just going to set this down on a box so that it's not hanging by the wire. But you're going to see that's going to give you access now to be able to reach in to where the motor relay is mounted. The next step is you're going to want to remove the screws holding on this shroud. So there's going to be a screw right here, and then there are 2 Phillips head screws here, 3 Phillips head screws on this side, and then another screw there. Once you've removed that, you're going to see this becomes fairly flexible so that you can move this out of the way, and then you can pull this out and access where the relay used to be. You can see I've already removed mine. To remove it, if we look at the new relay, there's going to be a rivet holding this in. So you're going to need to screw that rivet out, or I'm sorry, drill that rivet out, and that's where your large flat-bladed screwdriver is going to come in handy, because you're going to use that to pry that loose if it doesn't come out easily. What I ended up doing was coming in from this side and then using a rawhide hammer or mallet to be able to get some leverage under that and then pry it up, and it popped right off. And you can see it actually broke when it came off. This is the old relay. One of the things that you may want to do to diagnose and ensure it's the relay, and there's several tests that I'm not going to cover that you can perform, and this may or may not be a completely comprehensive test, but it's the one that I used, is you can get a couple of T-pins and insert those into the 2 large slots on the connector. And then get a jumper wire, and I used one with alligator clips, and my battery is disconnected right now, so it's not going to work if we do it. But basically you're going to hold on to this. Don't hold on to the alligator clip. Hold on to an insulated part of the wire and just touch those 2 together. And if the relay is bad and there's power to this, basically you're going to bypass the relay and your fan should come on when you touch those 2 together. So that's a testing procedure that you can use just to verify that the relay is actually the culprit. So to remove the relay, like I said, I found it easier to remove this headlight and come in from this side. You're going to see on the relay connector you have this little red slide clip. And basically what you're going to want to do is use your small flat-bladed screwdriver to slide this back, and you can see this has been disengaged. And then you're going to push down on this little tab to release this, and while you're pushing down, pull it back. Don't pull on the wires, actually hold on to the connector, slide that back, and you're going to have to use some force if it's been on there for a while, but that should come loose. So unless you have a large enough rivet and rivet gun to be able to put in a new rivet, the best way to replace the rivet that was holding this in is to get a stainless steel screw. This one happens to be a 1/4 inch by 1 inch, and you're going to want to drill a new hole pretty close to the previous hole. And you're going to see on the bottom of your new relay you have this little stud that is going to go into the existing hole, and if we look down in there, you're going to see you've got two holes. The one to the right is where the stud goes in. The one to the left that has the metal shavings around it, that's where the rivet was. So you're going to drill a hole either probably a little bit in front of that, towards the front of the vehicle, so that you can still use that previous hole for the stud, and then you'll put your new screw into that new hole. Okay, so you should be able to see now that I've drilled a new hole. You can see that there's a little bit of oil around that hole because I used some cutting oil and drilled at a pretty slow speed using a cobalt bit, but that went through it pretty easily. So I'll clean that up and then we'll put in the new relay. Alright, so there we can see we've got the new relay mounted in place, and the screw is in. It's nice and tight, stainless, so we shouldn't have a problem with that rusting and breaking off at any point. Now all we have to do is reconnect the connector, reconnect the battery, and then start the engine up. And as long as the relay was indeed the problem, then the fan should come on. One quick way to test that is to turn on your AC, and after a few minutes the fans should kick on if everything electrically and within the computer is working correct. You can see now with the AC running, fan on, the fans are indeed going. It's probably hard to tell in the video, but you can tell by the label on that radiator hose the fans are actually blowing, so this repair is good.